Hi, this is Sandy with Needs a Ribbon, and I'm bringing you a kind of a fun and actually quite easy technique today for you to try. All you need is some of our Stampin' acrylic blocks and a couple ink pads and a sheet of paper. The lighter the better. And let's get into it. So I'm gonna bring my paper over, and how we do this, it looks fairly obvious, but you know, sometimes the tutorial is helpful. So I'm going to be using, actually let me go back and share what colors I chose for this. And there's a reason for that. Triadic colors, we're going with triadic colors. That's something that I'm hoping to get into soon, is teaching how, color theory and how to pick your colors and all of that. And actually we'll go this way: red, yellow, blue. Instead of the traditional primary kindergarten red, yellow, blue, I'm using Strawberry Slush, Daffodil Delight, and Balmy Blue. So a take on the traditional red, yellow, blue. If you're seeking color inspiration, try that. Just take your normal triadic basic primary colors and go a few steps away. Go a little darker, go a little lighter, or mix and match in there. They pair well together. You know, I could have gone Cherry Cobbler, let's say, and Lemon Lolly. Cherry Cobbler being the red, Lemon Lolly being a really light yellow, and then for blue, nice medium blue, might be Blueberry Bushel. Just a little side note on all of that. That's not what I intended today, but that's what I ended up with. Okay, so I chose, here, I go back to this. Try not to bang on my glass too much because it's kind of loud on the camera. I chose 3 blocks of 3 different sizes for this. I just thought that it kind of helped emphasize what we're trying to do. You could do all 3 the same size. You know, you could do one size block. And if you only have one size, then that works too. And there are ways you can work with that. So I'm going to bring in my Daffodil Delight and my smallest. Yellow tends to overwhelm, I think. So I'm going to just, I stuck with the smallest block for that. And all I'm going to do, and I probably, well, you know what, it's okay. And I'm just going to squish it right into my ink pad. I kid you not. Press it down and twist. And you see how it gives you kind of that watercolor look? You can play with it a little bit. And the rule of 3s with color. So we're going to bring it over another way. We're doing a lot of 3s on this, aren't we? And then we're just going to come maybe over here. And see, it gives you kind of a watercolor, muted, flowing watercolor look. And it's kind of fun. I'm going to shut my ink pad because otherwise I'll lay my hands in it. And I'm going to bring in my Balmy Blue and my next sized ink, my next size block. I'm using a B, C, and D. Again, kind of going with the primary theme, aren't we, a little bit? So B, C, and D. And wow, I just re-inked. This is going to be really potent. I just re-inked my Balmy Blue because when I was doing this project, I noticed it's a little bit dry. So this is going to be very juicy and it's going to make it really cool. That'll dry down, but you see, you could even, you know, drag it to get kind of a watercolor look, even to kind of drag it through the block. And again, these are not perfection. I have shared years ago, in fact, one of my team members did it, where she used blocks and just used those as kind of a background. And you ink them up gently. You don't want them dripping like this. And you just step down and you can make a pattern and stuff. Wow, that is juicy. That is really juicy. And your blocks just wash right off. Just take them over the faucet. That's what I would recommend, and that's what I did. And just wash them off. Don't even need soap. It's water-based ink, so it just comes right out. And then my final color, I liked the Strawberry Slush, so I I want that right in the middle. Kind of liking how the balmy blue is seeping up. And just play with placement. I mean, you could keep going and cover your whole paper too. But I like it like that. I like a little white exposed. I think it just kind of, it helps define those colors a little bit. But, and you see how when they blend together, much like when you actually watercolor, it's the same on this. Whoops. Thank goodness that's black, because this is still fairly wet. How you get the greens and the purples and a little bit of orange now starting. So you've got all 6 basic colors kind of showing up there. That's part of why I like using the triadic colors also, is you now have all 6 colors represented. So you could pair this with a lot of things. That's like pumpkin pie, the green, the purple, gorgeous grape, the green. I would almost go garden green with that mix, but yeah, so that's what I really wanted to show you today, and I may make something out of this. I think I do like the more intense than my dried out balmy blue. It wasn't really dried out, but for this technique it was not quite juicy enough. You guys, I think this is really, really fun. You could then go in with one of our white gel pens and add some detail. Maybe I'll go back and do something to that. I think it's a fun technique. It's easy. It would be great to do, like if you're gonna wanting to do something with some young kids. They would love to get messy. Give them a whole sheet of paper. I wouldn't give them a small one. Give them a whole sheet of paper and let them kind of go to town. As long as they don't take and then take this and dip it in your balmy blue or anything. You know, make sure that they don't mix the blocks once they have ink on them. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed that tutorial. Again, this was a fun one. This is something that I've been wanting to share with you for many years. And I finally just took the time and said, you know what? We need to just do this. And yeah, I hope you've enjoyed it. I thank you for tuning in today. This has been Sandy with Needs a Ribbon. Bye.